WrestleMania 41 review with your host, Mr. Rock. Hope everyone's doing wonderful out there and wonderful with YouTube. Just need a few minutes before we start. Make sure that we're live. So, I know in the past we've had problems. So, okay, looks like we are live. Okay, so yes, this is a tale of two nights in a way. I'm not going to be watching the show. I'm just going to play off memory. I watched both nights just recently, and yeah, it's a tale of two stories. you know, um, one one night was literally all but average matches, I would say. The next night was literally where the magic was. So. But with that being said, let's get into the review. First match, we had Jey Uso versus Gunter. I feel that technically that match, was a good WrestleMania opening contest. Um, Good story, good everything. Just the finish was a little wonky. I feel that technically after free splashes, you really didn't need that choke at the end um, for Jey Uso. so, and for Gunter to tap out, kind of literally made him not the heel. I understand it made him strong, but sometimes making someone strong can also make someone weak, and that's where I feel what they did with Gunter. Um, like I said, it's a 3.5 star match. Nothing higher. A lot of these matches are going to be free to 3.5 star matches for this night, with the exception for like maybe a couple. You know, but like I said, great match, very hard hitting. Both Jay and Gunter really brought it. You know, it's just the it's just the finish that was a little wonky, and technically I wouldn't have done that finish. I would literally just have Jay win with the free splashes. Yes, Jay had to win the title before anyone said, I didn't want Jay to win the title. Yes, Jay had to win the title. He's selling the most merchandise. It makes sense for business. If Jay didn't win that title, it doesn't make sense for business in a way. You know, people are literally chanting yeet all across the world, it feels like. So at the end of the day, it just makes sense. Now to the next match. We had the New Day versus the War Raiders, I think. It was the second match. And my opinion on that match, it should have been a Monday Night Raw match. It shouldn't have been on the WrestleMania card. It made both teams look terrible. New Day, they stole the victory and away from the War Raiders, which I knew something wonky like that was going to happen. You know, the New Day had to win the titles anyways. It sets up a story. So I kind of knew where they were going with it. I even knew what was going to happen pretty much. And you're going to say, how do you know? Very simple. When you've seen the ins and outs of wrestling, like I have, you sort of understand it in a way. I understand where Triple H is going through, And for anyone to literally hate on Triple H, please don't. Just don't. He literally produced 5 shows this weekend. 5. NXT, the Hall of Fame, WrestleMania back-to-back nights, and SmackDown. And then he also has to do Raw tonight. 6, you know, this Easter. So it's like, don't hate on Triple H too much. So before you literally say, well, Triple H, whatever, just don't. He did his job. I just feel like there was too much on the plate for him. WrestleMania should go back to one night. I hate to say it, but it really should. It doesn't need to be a 2 night main spectacular freaking show. It really doesn't. I understand they got too much talent, but honestly, like when you literally see the quality of these matches, in a way, it could have been dumbed down to one night. And this was one of the matches. Like the New Day versus the War Raiders didn't have to be on the WrestleMania card. It could have been on a Monday night, and it would have been fine. It was a good Monday night main event. Simple as that. It didn't need to be. And like I said, the screwy finish. Um, you know, and honestly, like Big E not coming out during that match, I don't understand why. Why didn't he literally come out to literally like interfere in that match just a little, just to sort of like give us a little bit of a story. You know, it just felt kind of flat. Okay, on to the next match. I think, what was it? Jade? I think Jade was the next match. I think it was Jade and Naomi. Um, Jade and Naomi match, my opinion, was a good match. Definitely did his job. 3.5 out of 5 stars for sure. And that's where a lot of these matches are going to fall into. Like I said, you know, some fell very flat, like the tag team match, but I think they've really picked it up here. It showed Naomi that she could still hit, still go with the freaking match. Very hard hitting against Jade. Jade looked like a dominant force winning that match, giving everything she's got to Naomi, you know. And honestly, I knew Jade was going to win. Before anyone says, you don't know, I knew she was going to win. Jade was a powerhouse in AEW, a powerhouse in singles matches. If she didn't freaking win, oh my goodness, her career would have won. Might as well just literally throw her into the garbage, like most wrestlers have been before, if you're not going to literally push them at WrestleMania. So, very strong opening match, very strong match. I actually enjoyed it. It's the only thing that I wish that technically the Jade match would already have was a little bit longer, in my opinion. Should have been a little bit longer, especially for that kind of storytelling. And maybe, you know, someone literally showing up, you know. And you're going to say, what do you mean by someone showing up? Well, you had Liv Morgan literally taking the fall. Why didn't Liv Morgan not come out during that? Come out to literally attack both competitors after the match. It like to put the blame on. So it's just like, so yeah. The next match. I'm trying to think, what was the next match? uh, on the card. Well, I'll go with Tiffany Stratton uh, versus Charlotte Flair right now. And if I remember what the next match is, I'll literally do it. But Tiffany Stratton versus Charlotte Flair felt flat, in my opinion. It should have been, and oh yeah, I know what the next match was. It was Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight. I just remembered. Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight. We'll go back to Charlotte and everything, but I'm trying to do it in order, in a way. But yeah, it was Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight was the next match, I believe. That one should have. The only problem with that match is that it needed a steel cage. It should have had a gold steel cage. First time ever. Sin City steel cage match. I would have booked that in a heartbeat. It made sense for that match. And also, I got other stuff to talk about Charlotte Flair in just a second. But that match itself needed a steel cage, a gold steel cage, Sin City, perfect timing to literally do something like that. Jacob Fatu, I wouldn't have changed the finish. The finish was perfect. Jacob Fatu winning the title made him look strong for a singles title match. Perfect. But just need a steel cage. And you're going to say, wait, why does it need a steel cage? Very simple. When you put an animal in a cage, it makes the magic happen. Jacob Fatu looked like an animal in that match. It just felt like it needed it to elevate his career, you know? And at the end of the day, it just, to me, it felt literally flat. And like I said, Jacob Fatu versus LA Knight, 3.5 stars. It just needed that up, you know? And at the end of the day, it could have been a lot better with that gold steel cage. And I know Triple H is probably kicking himself for not thinking about that, but trust me, it's the little things. boosted up. So, yeah. And now I'm trying to remember, what is the next match? Was it Charlotte and versus? Because I know that technically there was a whole bunch of matches, and it's kind of hard to remember night one necessarily. But yeah. So yeah. Hold on, I just need to literally turn that off for a second. My phone just died, but I need to turn it off anyways. But yeah, back to what we were talking about. Um, like I said, with the Jacob Fat 2, 3.5, perfect. Wouldn't change the finish. Now we're going on to. I'm going to do the Charlotte versus Tiffy match in a way. I don't remember exactly what the next matches were, but we're going to go to that match. And honestly, I feel that that should have been a Showgirl Las Vegas street fight. Honestly, you did a Sin City street fight at night 2. This should have been a Las Vegas Showgirl street fight. Made sense, made perfect sense to literally book it that way. I don't understand why it wasn't booked that way. These two had so much heat. And honestly, the match just freaking felt flat. I hate to say it, but I'm giving Charlotte versus freaking Tiffy time 2.5 stars. Yes, Tiffy had to win. I understand that. But the magic wasn't there in that match. I didn't feel the magic. I didn't feel like it was a WrestleMania match. It would have been a good SmackDown main event, maybe. But WrestleMania? You bring everything you got. And knowing that Charlotte Flair did not hit one figure 8 on her to try to make her tap out. Get her to the ropes. Get something out of it. Didn't make sense to me as a wrestling booker. I'm sitting there going in my head, why? Why the hell did you not? And people would say, well, she had a knee brace, you know. Then why is she in the goddamn match? Simple as that. If you can't perform at your best at WrestleMania, then don't take the pay. It's that simple, kids. You know, you have to bring up your A game at WrestleMania. Everyone knows this. That's why Undertaker's legacy is so freaking phenomenal. Because he brought his A game. Not to every match, but he at least brought his A game for most of his career. You know, same thing with Triple H. Same thing with everyone else. You bring your A game. So, yeah. I'm trying to remember what was the next match. I'm going to go back and take a look as well to see if I missed any matches. So before you say, well, he missed this match, he missed that one, I'll take a look on the computer and take a look and see if I missed any matches. And if I did, I'll review them. So, yeah. And then I think the next match was the finale, the main event, which was Seth Rollins, Roman Reigns, and CM Punk. That match gets a 4-star. Very well done. My only problem, too fucking predictable. I knew what was going to happen. I knew for a fact that Paul was going to turn on both Roman and CM Punk. They made the match way too goddamn predictable. And if you literally say, well, what do you mean by that? I didn't see it coming. You didn't see it coming because at the end of the day, you didn't think about it. But when you really think about it, it was right there all along. 1, there's no title on the line. Main event at WrestleMania Night 1. No title whatsoever. 2, he's coming out with freaking CM Punk. You knew that there was going to be a swerve somewhere. You know? What makes the right sense for business? For him to literally side with CM Punk? He's already been with CM Punk back in 2013. Go watch. You know? And then he literally sided himself with Roman Reigns not too long ago. What's the point? If he literally goes back to freaking Roman Reigns, you know, it's not really there. The magic's not there. But if he goes with Seth Rollins, the magic's there. The money's there. So for anyone that says, wow, Seth Rollins, you know, like, he turned his back on the freaking family. Trust me, there's a reason why Seth Rollins literally had to become this guy. And everything's going to literally unfold and everyone's going to see what I see. Eventually. I see it already. I see the writing on the wall, Triple H, and you're freaking smart for that one. Very smart. Because I see the writing on the wall. Not like everyone else. Maybe some people don't get it. But trust me, they're gonna get it eventually. And they're gonna say you're damn smart for that one. But yeah. Uh, so I'm just gonna literally take a look for a second, um, just to see how night one was, just to make sure that I didn't miss anything. I don't think I did actually. I think I got all the matches. There wasn't that many matches, was there? Hold on. So I'm just making sure that I actually got all the matches, so I don't literally forget anything. Okay. Oh, I did forget one. I did forget one. And sorry about this, guys. I literally forgot about it because at the end of the day, this was literally a throwaway match. It was Ray Phoenix versus El Grande Americano. Honestly, I feel that technically that was a throwaway match. It gets literally 2 stars. It was a throwaway match. I knew what they were doing in a way. They're saving Rey Mysterio for WrestleMania 42. The reason why Ray didn't wrestle that match is because they're saving him for WrestleMania 42. It's going to be in New Orleans. It's going to be Rey Mysterio retirement match. If Ray would have wrestled on this card, he might have got even worse injured. He might have a slight injury or something like that, but they had to take him off. And so they buried Ray Phoenix in this match. I hate to say it, but they really did. They buried him in this match. They didn't make Ray Phoenix look strong. I know it's his WrestleMania debut, but in all fairness, that's just the way how it works. I feel if Rey Mysterio was in the match, Ray would have won. Since he wasn't, they had to give it to the heel, so that when Ray comes back, he looks way stronger. I get it. In a way, I get it. So yeah, and then yeah, I'm just trying to see if there's any other matches I missed. Um, nope. Okay. So yeah. So now we're on to night two. Night two is a battle of freaking tails proportions. We had Rhea Ripley versus Io Sky versus Bianca Belair. 4 stars, hands down. Great opening match. In a way, could have been 5 if the match would have won just a tad bit longer, maybe a couple minutes longer. But excellent effort out of all 3 ladies on this match. I thought that technically it kicked things way off. There was the magic, the spark, everything. Great match, great freaking thing. I knew Evil Sky was going to win. So before anyone says, you don't know, I knew she was going to win. I even said it before the match even started. I said, Evil Sky has to win this match. They literally put the statistics up before the match. And if anyone was paying attention to those statistics, you would see that they literally said it. They said it. She's 3-0 in triple threat matches. She literally has beat both Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley before. And I'm just sitting there going, did they just tell the outcome of the match? Like all you have to do is just listen to the little things and you would have caught on to it. But still, great effort, great match. Next match was Drew McIntyre versus what was it? Drew McIntyre versus Damian Priest. I fucking love that match. Not just for the match itself, but for what they did. You had Drew McIntyre's entrance with the freaking like him coming out to like the Doom freaking thing entrance, with the skulls on the ground and everything else. I freaking love that, you know. And then Damian Priest coming out with Kerry Kane of Slayer. Kerry Kane of Slayer was there. and you are a big metalhead, Kerry King's my guy. I knew Kerry King for over 20 plus years in a way. I used to literally hang out with him when I was a kid. He literally flipped me a couple dollars. I think it was a toonie when I was a kid when he was driving his motorcycle. I still remember that to this day, Kerry Kane, and thank you for that tuning, because I used it to go to the arcade. Get some quarters, go to the arcade. But yeah, I still remember that, and to literally see Kerry Kane come play Damian Priest's entrance with the freaking fire, the flames, it felt like WrestleMania. It felt like WrestleMania in my freaking face, And the match itself, holy crap, was the match really good, you know? They're the freaking beating the crap out of each other. Damian Priest going for those tables, getting pushed off the ropes, going for the tables. You had literally freaking Drew McIntyre power bombing Priest for the freaking thing. I knew Drew was gonna win. So before anyone says, "Well, you don't know Drew was gonna win," I knew Drew was gonna win the match because of WrestleMania 40. See, I pay attention to just the little details. And if you literally pay attention to just those little details, you can figure this out, kids. You know, David Priest already beat him literally a year before. So Drew McIntyre's trying to get his revenge. He's trying to get his win. And not only that, but technically they kind of symbolized every match. And I hate to say it, but they really did on this card. And it really sucked too, because it seemed like anyone that was literally part of the advertising team literally did, was part of the match or picked up the win. And if you don't believe me, go take a look. You'll see what I mean. You know. Um, but yeah, I literally say that match, you know, definitely 3.5 stars out of 4. I meant 5 for the Drew. But yeah. Um, on to the next match. I'm trying to remember what it was. Was it the tag team match or what? I'm trying to remember. No, women's tag team match was later. That's right. Oh, what match was it? Sorry, guys. I literally was drinking, so at the end of the day, during the freaking thing, so I'm trying to remember. Um, Here, let's just take a look. I got it out here, anyways. I just can't remember the whole entire show. Okay. Oh yeah, it was the Fatal 4-Way match. Fatal 4-Way match. Honestly, this was the one that literally kind of surprised me a little, but not too much. The Fatal 4-Way match: Braun Breaker, Dominic Mysterio, Finn Balor, and Penta. I knew Penta and Finn were gonna win. I knew right off the bat. So I literally crossed those two out. But I thought maybe Braun Breaker could have literally extended his freaking thing, because they were talking about literally them being part of the Steiner family. Maybe they could have literally kept the belt on him a little bit longer. But then they literally said something during the match. And that's where I went to Dom. They said straight up that Dom has never won at WrestleMania. And I literally went, so Dom's going to win. He just told the outcome of the match. And I literally sat there and go, so he's going to win this match. I guarantee he's going to literally do something dirty. His name's Dirty Dom. Sure enough, he gets the pinfall win over Finn Balor, after doing the frog splash on him. And I just sat to myself going, that's kind of a good decision in a way. It gives Dom the title, gives his first WrestleMania win. And trust me, Dirty Dom needs the WrestleMania win. I hate to say it, but he really does. Knowing that he's Rey Mysterio's dad, It's kind of like, yeah, he needs this win. you know, and I'm glad he got it. I'm glad he got it. Hats off to him. You know. Now I just hope that they can do something with him with that title. And I think I know what's going on. Finn Balor's gonna literally challenge for that title. He's gonna get freaking pissed off, and that's what's probably gonna happen. You know, because he's gonna say, "Well, you took my main event. You took my moment away." You know, so I could sort of see what's how that match is gonna happen. Okay, so because I'm not good at stuff, I'm literally going to go through yeah that. And like I said, that match deserves 3.5 stars. I just felt like technically, they made Braun into this powerhouse during the match. I just felt like it should have been Braun that literally got pinned. That's all I would say. You know, I get where they're going with the story. Now the next match was Randy Orton versus Joe Henry. This one, this one I knew Randy Orton was going to win. Whoever it was, I knew Randy was going to win. They hyped Randy up way too much during the match. They were saying, "Well, this is 20th WrestleMania. This is his moment. This is his moment to shine." I didn't know who the outcome was going to be. The outcome was amazing. When it was Joe Henry, I was all like, "Well, say his name," and he appears. He's at WrestleMania 41. This is his first, and I thought technically it did the job in a way. Definitely a 2-star match, in my opinion. It did the job. It made Randy Orton look good, made Joe Henry look good, you know. And if you literally disagree, well, that's your opinion. But I thought when he literally turned into the RKO to literally do the finish, excellent. That was an excellent idea. Whoever thought of that, bravo. In my opinion, bravo. You did something. Because at the end of the day, yeah, that's how I would have done and booked it as well. You know, because that's what he was famous, and that's what he was famous for. The turn, you know. So I feel that they both did their job. Randy Orton's kind of getting up there as well, so he can't really wrestle long main events. So it's good to see. Should the match have won a little bit longer? Maybe 5 more minutes, you know, to get Joe Henry over. They didn't really do a good job getting Joe Henry over. He just kind of looked like okay, you know. He got some offense in, but it wasn't enough to literally say maybe this kid should be on WrestleMania card every year, you know. So I'm just trying to see what the next one. Okay, AJ Styles and Logan Paul. Um, I enjoyed this match, but like I said, there's this match. Even though it was a good one, it kind of literally still felt like it could have been a SmackDown main event. It didn't have to be on WrestleMania, and that's why I give it 3.5 stars. It was a good match, but the intensity could have been literally saved for like a SmackDown main event or something. You know, there wasn't any title on the line. There was nothing really there to literally elevate the WrestleMania feel. I feel that technically maybe you throw a ladder involved because they're both high flyers. That's something I would have done Triple H maybe to this match. You know, and honestly, I'm not even really dissing Triple H. I'm just saying what I would have done. You know, if I was literally in charge, I would have probably made a ladder match because both guys are literally high flyers. You know, and at the end of the day, it would have made more sense to literally see like a ladder or something come out to play. But I knew Logan was gonna win, so before anyone says, "Well, you don't know crap," AJ Styles has been in many main events over his career. You have to push the younger talent. For Paul to get that victory now makes him into the megastar. He was already the megastar, but now he's the megastar, and that's what WrestleMania does. It pushes them. And before people say, "Well, I didn't want Paul to win," it's not your decision. you know, and before anyone could say, "Well, I wanted AJ to win and I want this," it's not your decision. It's their decision. If you don't like it, change the channel. Don't pay for Netflix. Whatever you want to do, I don't care. It's your money, it's your decision. Click it off. You know. But I felt like they did an okay job. But I would have literally have saved that for a SmackDown, or have put literally a ladder, for that match. And people would say, well, you got too many gimmick matches then. Sometimes you need a gimmick if it's going to elevate the match. If it's going to literally give that magic, that appeal to WrestleMania. Sometimes you need it. And like I said, 3.5 stars for that match. Uh, are we on the tag team? Yeah, we're on the women's tag team match. So, my opinion on this match, we had Becky Lynch and Iva Valkyrie versus Liv and what was it? Raquel Rodriguez, I think it was called. She was called, or whatever. I knew the second the man blocked out, I was like, they're giving them the titles. Yeah. See, if probably Bayley didn't get hurt, quotation marks, in a way. And I'm not saying that she doesn't have an injury, but I don't feel that technically it was a severe injury. They took her out of the match because they really needed Becky Lynch back. That's why I said quotation marks. And honestly, it made sense for Becky and Iva Valkyrie to literally team up. Besides Bayley, Bayley has had WrestleMania moments herself, and I think she understood the job, you know. Letting Becky literally come back, give her big WrestleMania moment, you know, let her shine, you know. I feel that Bayley will be back by WrestleMania 42 in the main event. So before someone says, well, or at least a main event caliber. She might not main event it, but she'll be in a main event caliber, you know. And that's what I feel. I feel that Bayley stepped aside for next year's WrestleMania main event caliber match. So, so, and like I said, I feel that technically this was a good match for all four ladies. Made them look strong in a way. I give it 3.5 stars out of 5. Definitely strong match. Not as strong as technically it should have been. I feel that Bayley should have literally came out. I think it would have made the match just a little bit stronger. Just come out, maybe, you know, try to cost them the title, you know. Be like, you literally freaking did this to me, well, I'm costing you the title. Or something like that. You know, and or something, like there had to have been like something there. So yeah, that's my opinion on that match. Now we're on to the main event, which is Cody versus, you know, Cody versus John Cena. We're on to that main event. Oh, did the thing just pause or what? Oh, no. Okay, we're back. I was making sure that things were still going. Yeah, we're on to Cody versus John Cena. Honestly, my opinion, 3 stars. This is a 3 star. It could have been 5 if they would have done it the way how I would have booked this. And honestly, there's an unfinished story here. And that's the reason why I can't really give it a 5 star. Yes, John Cena should have won. I'm not denying John Cena's win. The Rock should have came out at the end. I really feel The Rock literally missed his WrestleMania fucking moment there. And it literally blew up in WWE's face by him not showing up. And I don't know why he didn't show up. The whole entire story was around The Rock and Cena and Cody. So for them not to do that, it's like a slap across the face. How I would have booked this match is very simple. Cena gets the win. The Rock comes out, literally says, "Hey, buddy, we're 1-1 at WrestleMania. I won 28, you won 29, buddy. It's been literally almost 15 years or something like that. It's been 12, years or whatever it has been. Let's settle this. One on one. You put that title on the line. One last time, you know. and then you got and then technically you got The Rock winning that match. And you're gonna say, wait, The Rock wins the match? He wins the championship? Listen very carefully. This is how you make John Cena into a really big heel. The Rock gives the title to Cody and says, "You'll always be my champion." Cody throws the title on the fucking ground at WrestleMania. Throws it on the ground. I don't want to win this way. WrestleMania ends with John Cena picking up the championship and says, "Look, I beat you." And that's how I would have booked it. But did it happen that way? No, you had John Cena just winning with a dirty freaking finish. And I just sat there going, yeah. So much freaking thing that you could have done. And I just literally went to myself going, this WrestleMania, in my opinion, if you wanted an overall rating of it, it felt kind of flat. I will give it a B minus. Still not bad, but overall, it wasn't the worst WrestleMania of all time. Before anyone says yes, it was. No, it's not. Go watch WrestleMania 9. Go watch WrestleMania 11. Hell, go watch WrestleMania 2. Those were some pretty bad ones growing up. You know, so yeah. But yeah, like I said, free stars for the main event. It felt kind of flat in my opinion, and I literally said there's unfinished business. It's not the way how a main event should have happened. I understand John Cena needs a 17, but for The Rock not to come out and challenge him when they're still one on one, the question is going to remain for their whole entire life. Who is the bigger star, Rock or Cena? They both have won WrestleMania, so it's like, you know, and that's why I literally say that technically maybe WrestleMania 42 they're going to do Rock Rock versus Cena. They're just hinting it now. And before someone says, well, technically no, John Cena's going to retire this year. Just remember, they said that about Ric Flair too. So yeah, I want to thank everyone for coming out, liking, subscribing, and everything else like that. But yeah, that'll be it for tonight. So yeah, I'll see you guys on Wednesday with maybe another WrestleMania review, maybe a classic WrestleMania review. I'm thinking about doing it all this week, actually. All the way through Friday. So Wednesday through Friday. I got a few in mind, in a way. So before anyone says, well, I want this WrestleMania, I got a few. But yeah, I'm thinking that Wednesday I'm going to do WrestleMania 6, which was the year that I was born, which was in Canada, which was in Toronto, and everything else. I haven't really watched WrestleMania 6 in years, so it'll be kind of interesting to literally go back to it. But yeah, thank you for everyone for coming out. I'll see you Wednesday with possibly WrestleMania 6. Until then, later.